look at the Shark Tank Baltimore Aquarium. Cool shot, MD. Well done, well done. All right, well, have you ever asked yourself why the left is so hell-bent on keeping violent gang members in America? Gang members who came here illegally, mind you. So aside from being the low-life thugs that they already are, they've also come into the country illegally, so they're criminals from the get-go. But these people aren't seeking asylum. They're gang members, no doubt unwanted in their own countries. These aren't children and women. These are men of fighting age, men who aren't arrested or interested in doing menial jobs. They're men of fighting age, and they're in America to do the very same thing they did to their own countries, to own the streets, to instill fear, to commit crimes. And hey, if a sanctuary city in the U.S. can throw in a couple of grand on a debit card and help pay their way, why the hell not? So ask yourself why. Why does the left want these dregs of their societies from other countries to be a part of ours so badly? This is what they want you to believe. They want you to paint removing evil people from the country as, well, somehow that's evil.
Is a constitutional crisis now officially upon us? From the invocation of an 18th century law that was the basis for some of the darkest chapters in America's history, things like the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, now being used to deport hundreds of people, to the sudden removal of an immigrant doctor here legally, both moves seemingly, from what we know at this hour, at the time in open defiance of court orders.
People, she says, minor attractive persons, they say she, they say when it's really a he could just have a cold when they say it's dementia, Joe Biden. But we know why they do certain things, say certain things. Nicole Wallace right there, just following marching orders. No longer any kind of real journalist with a real mind of her own. Nicole is just an MSNBC shill following marching orders and dispensing the lines demanded of her by the leftist propaganda machine. But why? Why is it that while Republicans are all about rescuing astronauts and Hamas-held hostages, Democrats are wholly interested in rescuing illegal migrants who are also violent criminals from being deported from America?
What's happened today with the Alien Enemies Act, 1700s, and the deportation, and
I think
just
it's just beginning.
I mean, this, to me, of all the things that has happened during the Trump administration, the notion that you can completely disregard the federal court and literally challenge the court just blatantly in contempt of court. I mean, that's the cornerstone of this constitutional democracy.
Interesting, isn't it, how suddenly the lefties pretend they know what the Constitution really is? Also not really interested in judgment from the guy who cleaned up his streets for Gavin Newsom cleaned up his streets for a few minutes only to appease his rightful boss, China's Xi Jinping, but I digress. And on the note of ignoring a judge's orders, I'll just leave this right here.
By the time the other order came, the plane was already over international waters with a plane full of terrorists and significant public safety threats. And, you know, to turn a plane around over international waters, we're going to refuel over international waters, come back and bring terrorists back to the United States. That's not what this president promised American people. What the president did was exactly the right thing.
Well, the media is telling you that Trump is acting illegally by deporting non-citizen members of Venezuela's Tren de Aragua terrorist gang pursuant to the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The media, owned by the leftist propaganda machine, will tell you that President Trump's action is illegal because this law is only effective in wartime, which already tells you that the left doesn't see an invasion of America and our sovereignty by criminals who wish to do harm to Americans as a war, which it is. And our president has declared it so. The media supports a false narrative by pointing out that the law has only been invoked in the past during declared wars, such as the War of 1812, World War I, and also World War II. The progressive propaganda media also points to the first part of the act, which says, quoting, whenever there is a declared war between the United States and any foreign nation or government, ... Okay, so there's no declared war officially, so President Trump is acting illegally, right? No, wrong, because that act, let's go back to the actual act, goes on to say, and I'm quoting, or any invasion or predatory incursion is perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government. But wait, the media says Tren de Aragua is not actually an arm of the Venezuelan government. Wrong again. As President Trump points out in a high level of detail, by the way, in his executive order, over the years, Venezuelan national and local authorities have ceded ever greater control over their territories to transnational criminal organizations, including TDA, Tren de Aragua. The result is a hybrid criminal state that is perpetrating an invasion of and predatory incursion into the United States, and which poses a substantial danger to the United States. So, Tren de Aragua is a narco-terrorist arm of the Venezuelan government. Very simple. Very clear. And as such, President Trump is fully justified and is acting with full legal authority in forcibly deporting terrorist members of TDA. The plain language of the Alien Enemies Act is available online. You don't need to be a lawyer to understand it. You just need to go there and read it, which anyone on MSNBC should probably do, because again, their talking points and clear marching orders are the only reading they seem to do. But it doesn't matter, because the brother-loving congressional member from the state of Somalia, Ilhan Omar, wants Americans to believe that defending your nation against invaders is somehow un-American.
It is hard to imagine anything more un-American than that. The Trump administration's immigration policy is a threat to immigrants like criminals. America is too great to fall prey to Donald Trump's anti-immigrant agenda.
Please go back to Somalia, Ilhan. Ilhan Omar hates this country. We already knew that. Ilhan hates Americans, but absolutely adores terrorists.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something.
By the way, this is how Ilhan Omar defends those disgusting comments she just made.
So what I was speaking to was the fact that as a Muslim, not only was I suffering as an American who was attacked on that day, but the next day I woke up as my fellow Americans were now treating me as suspect.
Oh, I had this wonderful awakening the next day. So essentially all you really need to know is this, and I'm not going to go sugarcoat it. I'm not going to go PR wash what I'm saying. This is binary, one or the other. There are no gray areas in the middle, in between. If you're against the deportation of those who come to this country illegally, if you're against the deportation of those who wish to harm even a single American, gang member or not, then you, Ilhan Omar, you Democrats, you, all of you, then you're not American. You don't belong here either. You hate this country. You're against this country. You're therefore an enemy and traitor of this country. No sugarcoating. Only the truth. That's what we do here. Truth bombs. We as Americans and as a country are in the fight of our lives. There are those within this country right now who openly wish for the death of our country, and our president is here to defend Americans against that threat. I know that this country forgot what actually it is for and what we stand for long, disastrous, and disgusting years of Biden, but here it is, plain and simple. Ilhan Omar, AOC, Margaret Brennan, Rachel Maddow, the nut job, Nicole Wallace, every single member of the Democrat Party, the media, lefty media, these people hate this country and want our demise. They report to George Soros, to Barack Obama, to Hillary freaking Clinton, who left Americans to die in Benghazi, which we are about to find out more about thanks to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. If you're an Obama-appointed judge who stops the deportation of those criminals, you are owned by any all of the above. You're not an American. You're the enemy of the state, and therefore should be investigated, tried, impeached, maybe even jailed. Yes, Mr. President, we're in a wartime, and we support you using any and every single legislative and appointed power to defend us. Full stop. We'll be right back with Bannon.